The word revisit smacks of seeing a thing in a different way, like let us revisit breath. We kid ourselves into saying that we take breath. Breath is given to us. 1, 2, 3. And with each breath, I first inspire and then I officially expire. Till the next breath arrives from high heavens. You don't tell a dog, come on, breathe. Don't tell a small child, come on, breathe. When you are fast asleep, who's going to breathe for you? बहुत देर के बाद गाड़ी चली, प्लेटफॉर्म पर अटक गई थी. बहुत देर के बाद गाड़ी चली. मुस्लिम कहता है या अली थैंक अल्लाह, हिंदू कहता है जय बजरंग बली, तो क्रिश्चियन कहता है क्या अली क्या बली, ये तो पैरेलल ट्रेन चली, अगले ट्रैक पर ट्रेन. So Dobson around 1910 said, time passes, you say, oh no, time stays, you pass. And Bhartrihari says, Kalo na yate vayame vayat. Time doesn't flow, we flow. But we kid ourselves. So when we visit bones, we should realize, like I have been brilliant exposition by Dr. Ravi and Manish, one of my students, I'm proud of him, really, is that bone is outside the body, that you can screw them up, you can put an implant. It's just like the nail. You know, there are some fellows who wear earrings on the nail. Because the word nakhun, jisme khun nahi hai, that's why it's called nakhun. Nail is nakhun. And it is outside the body. It is inlaid, overlaid, and outlaid. So, working in the anatomy department, about the 85, we were revising the 5th edition of embryology, and it dawned on us that the deltoid muscle arrives first. The biceps arrives first, and humerus comes leisurely much later. So the teaching that deltoid is attached to humerus, that is very humorous situation, honestly. So if at all, it is a humerus which must be seeking attachment to deltoid. And it doesn't get. And so you realize that a bone is like a crossbar in a deck chair. There's a cloth and a loop. You put in a jack crossbar, it becomes tight. Take it out, becomes loose. So to say that the mandibular nerve passes through foramen, you know, Gray described, then the nerve goes and passes the foramen, goes through the foramen. Mandibular nerve doesn't pass through foramen oval. Foramen oval is cast round the pre-existing mandibular nerve. So the revisit is here, and you question the current and suggest something different. Like cancer cell has been recently declared from Cambridge a super differentiated normal cell. Super differentiated normal cell in no mood to multiply faster than other normal cells. In fact, jejunum and ileal mucosa is much faster than the fastest growing Walker carcinosarcoma 60. And this is Lawrence Doll, 1994. We have been taking bones, joints, but let us not make bones about the fact we don't understand bone. Bone is still a mystery, and the commonest idea is a long femur lying somewhere in the Museum of the Anatomy Department, but bone is much different. Go to knee joint. There's a lot of knee joint surgery done. And once in Indore, I said, the cruciates are cartilage. The cruciates are not ligament, are the two cartilages which connect the femoral cartilage. And they are supplied with nerves, and so kinesthetic sensations are a part of the anterior cruciate and the posterior cruciate. So joint precedes bone. If you were to see a fetus or a newborn, the knee joint is there, the hip joint is there, but femur is yet to come. So it's a fallacy to say that the joint is between femur and tibia. The truth is the femur is between knee joint and hip joint. That's the reality. Muscle precedes bone. Now precedes foramen. And what we did was to take 10% nitric acid and dip the parts, and lo and behold, all bones came out because they never belonged to the body. So this is Mina, Lina, Tina, and so bone is nowhere attached. How can it get? Because it comes much later. Likewise, muscle nowhere attached, tendon nowhere attached, capsule nowhere attached, ligament not. So bone is just like air in a car tire. It gives shape to the tire, takes shape of the tire, but doesn't believe in being attached to the tire. It's as simple as that. Now, this is a very beautiful tire and rim relationship. If the tire were to be attached to the rim, every distortion of the tire would visit the rim and destroy it. So the tire is overlaid. The strongest part of the jumbo jet, is the column of nitrogen which is supporting it. Because the entire 70,000 kilograms comes on that. But that nitrogenous tire is not attached to the tire rim. So when biceps and triceps are contracting, biceps is pulling on triceps, triceps is pulling on biceps, the bone is just moving in the center like a lever. So bone is cradled and swung because it comes much later. Biceps and triceps establish their continuity all around. So humerus comes later, femur comes later, tibia. The most powerful muscle pull is exerted on the partners, but the bone is spared. There is no drag on the bone. And sometimes when the drag is too much, the patella is known to crack. Patella doesn't withstand that pressure. Muscle increases the pressure around the bone to encourage it to be richer in calcium. That is why I keep on walking. I think route number 11 is the best. I want to meet a person who has walked 225 kilometers in a day, honestly. Fall at his feet. Osteogenesis succeeds histiogenesis both phylogenetically and ontogenically. So to call invertebrates as something inferior is an insult to phylogeny because invertebrates came first. Vertebrates came little later. And 4% of animal biomass is vertebrate. 96% is invertebrate. And don't kid yourself about speed because the fastest moving swimmer in the ocean is not a vertebrate, but is the lollygoat or the squid, which swims by jet propulsion faster than a blue whale or a killer whale. So much as in phylogeny, bone comes later, even in ontogeny, by the 8th week of intrauterine life, an elephant, a lion, and man and Manu are 1 inch long and fully formed, with not a picture of bone around. Ligaments, muscle, you name it, it's there. Cartilage is there. So cartilage doesn't belong to bone. Cartilage belongs to soft tissue. And bone is not preceded by cartilage. That's kidding. Endochronal ossification is a variable myth. All bone is periosteogenic in origin, growing into a pabulum of mucoid connective tissue. So what nature has done, has taken a non-fibrillar mucoid connective tissue as a mold for the skull, for the femur, for the tibia. So the child is running on mucoid connective tissue, and mucoid connective tissue takes a lot of impact. So under your tooth, there is a mucoid connective tissue which takes your pumping. And the nucleus pulposus is mucoid connective tissue. Vitreous is mucoid connective tissue. Avascular, non-fibrillar, and as one Russian text, all fluids are infinitely incompressible. So mucoid connective tissue, and then what happens? The so-called periosteum. So you are giving precedence to bone. So periosteum. No, bone comes later. So periosteum is first, and then periosteum grows into mucoid connective tissue and replaces mucoid connective tissue. And mucoid connective tissue is universally distributed. umbilical cord is the central limb. And the palm, that is the placenta, catches on the mother. Canine penis, the Freudian fifth limb. Vitreous of the eye, pulp of the tube, nuclear pulposus. And all embryonic os cases from scalp to soul. So that endocrinal ossification and membranous ossification is a myth, all right, but doesn't hold true. Mucoid connective tissue is a tissue shaper and expander designed to withstand enormous pressure during fetal and adult life. Non-fibrillar, poorly cellular, and rich in water. The growing bone grows into MCT and keeps on replacing it. So the MCT's role in fracture healing needs to be ascertained. The soft callus is again mucoid connective tissue into which bone would grow. So this is the metachromasia of mucoid connective tissue in a fetal foot, vertebral column, and umbilical cord. Just the same thing, all the three. So take umbilical cord as the central limb, the penis and clitoris at the lower midline limb. So life begins without bones, but all else is there. This is the newborn embryo. You can hardly see any bone around. There is no bone. Comes much later than relaxed afterthought. So human body is a unitary whole, devoid of parts and regions. Development structure is there are no joints but only gaps. Joint means bring tibia, bring femur, put a little sticking plaster, and joint is ready. Between in the mesoderm of the lower limb, a gap appears. A gap appears. That is coelom, like the peritoneal cavity in the pleura and the pericardium. And that gets adequately lined to give you an illusion that you have created a joint. There is no joint in the body, save in the eye, where the eyeball meets the pad of fat. Eyeball is neurectodermal. And the so-called pad of fat behind the eyeball is actually the acetabulum, as one of the pictures will show. So the acetabulum comes from fat, eye comes from neurectoderm, and that is the only true joint in the body, if there is one. So there are coeloms, serosal, pleura, cardiovascular, articular, gapicular, and osseous. So bone itself is laid in a coelomic cavity, femoral coelomic cavity, tibial coelomic cavity, skull coelomic cavity. And therefore, since bone is outside the body, you have 20 million years fossil, still the bone is there, because the bone was never organic. So the bacteria had no mood to eat it away. So their hair, bone, and nails survive, because basically they're outside the body. So these are the bony peas that fell out of their pod. When we pulled out, tibia came out, femur came out, everything came out. And suddenly the collagenous continuity from scalp to foot was established. So in fetal development, what happens is an ocean of collagen spread throughout the entire fetus. And then liver appears here, spleen appears here. We feel connective tissue of the liver is connected, liver is inlaid. And therefore, there are no ligaments and bone. There is an ocean of connective tissue in island, organ islands appear. So you have the proximal phalanx of the great toe, that is the phalanx coelom. This is the ankle. Now the tendoachilles seems to terminate in calcaneum. No, it moves around the calcaneum and becomes a long plantar fascia. Calcaneum is inlaid in the run of the tendoachilles, which coming to the front rises up, goes to the dorsum of the foot, and continues at tensor fascial artery. This is the part of the calcaneum which has been pulled out. Thallus, nutrient artery. talus inoculated. Now this, we are at the femur. And if you can notice, here is the periosteum, so-called periosteum of the femur, continues at the articular cartilage, going to the other side, where the femur has been inlaid and the femur has already separated above the condyles. Here is the so-called cruciate, which is actually the tibial plateau cartilage belonging to the periosteum, not to the tibia itself, and it is the cartilage to cartilage connection. And therefore, anterior cruciate and posterior cruciate are cartilaginous in nature and not fibrous or ligamentous. So the femur has been removed, and you have the cartilage cup. The cartilage cup has vertical fluid channels. So the synovial fluid takes the impact, passes through the cartilage fluid channels, and then the spongy bone has enough fat to transmit it. Ladies and gentlemen, we walk on softness. The snail has a pool of blood. The palm has a pool of blood. The sole has a pool of blood. And when a horse jumps, the horse foot is very narrow. But a lake of blood rushes, and the entire impact of the horse fall is taken on a pool of blood. We cannot, the car cannot run on the rim. So from the foot to my bone is inlaid to make the limbs unbendable, but the entire impact is from fat, blood, fluid, cartilage, right to the top, whether you do sirsasana or whether you are standing. So here you have the cruciates, anterior and posterior, and here are the femur and tibia. We didn't have to make any effort to pull them out. They just came out. They wanted to come out. I want to appreciate that so-called articular cartilage, which we call kinephrine, is a part of the soft tissue. It's continuous with the periosteum, has nothing to do with bone, and the cartilage and the bone are separated by a layer of fluid. Here is the so-called round ligament of the femoral head, and the femoral head has come out. Here is the round ligament here. This is the round ligament. This is the femoral head. This is the cartilage with which round ligament is continuous. The cartilage is continuous femoral periosteum. This is a fetal study, and you find that the intervertebral discs arrive much before the vertebrae are inlaid. So they are not, the bodies are interdiscal. Bodies are interdiscal because even nerves emerge at the disc level, that is the right segment. But since we study the adult, we can't retrospect and therefore make an illusion, intervertebral disc. The body is interdiscal. And you can see here in the knee joint, here is the mucoid connective tissue of the femur. Here is the already formed cartilage. Here are the cruciates. Here is the cartilage. And therefore, in the fetus, there is no bone, but articular cartilage and the joints are there because joint precedes the bone. My point is made. The vertebrae have been pulled out because vertebrae are not integral to the spinal column. They have been inlaid later. And the disc which preceded first, and therefore the body is truly interdiscal. So we call periosteum as kynosa, kinetic kynosa. That's a better term. And the kinephrine is the articular cartilage. So here is the kynosal case for the spine. Here is the intervertebral disc. Here is the vertebral body. Here is the vertebral coelom. Okay? Just like coelom of the pericardium or peritoneum. This is the disc. Here is the disc. This is the disc. This is the vertebral coelom. The vertebrae have been removed. The vertebra, and only a gloved finger is enough to pull the vertebra out. The humerus stands distinct from the humeral bed because the humeral bed came much earlier. The humerus came much later. So the so-called ridges, the intervertebral groove. The intervertebral groove does not lodge the biceps tendon, but the biceps tendon casts the intervertebral groove. We could pull the entire skull out. It could be jerked out so that the dura could wag the tongue. So I must say, there is no geographical boundary in the human body. It's all an illusion. So here is the inlet skull bone. Here is the scalp. Here is the dura. And this was the skull bone, which was laid between the two much later. And don't kid yourself that strength resides in bone. The most powerful muscle in the human body is the gestational uterus. To throw that baby out is no joke. It's, as Grace says, it's more powerful than the gluteus maximus. The heart, in a day's time, my love, will contract as much as will allow you to lift a 8-ton truck through a height of 25 feet. Heart has no bone. And the elephantine trunk, which can manage a few tons on its trunk, has no bones at all. So bone is a spreader. Bone is a non-bender. But bone has hardly anything to do with strength. And this is the continuity between the articular cartilage and the periosteum. Just to prove that the so-called articular cartilage is a kinephrine part of the kynosa of the bone. And this is the cartilage kynosal junction. This is the inside of the cartilage. Again, the inside of the cartilage. So cartilage is a part of the kynosa, nothing to do with bone. Periosteum is a term gives to bone undeserved primacy. No good. Periosteum is the inner limit of the soft tissue from scalp to sole. So kynosal continuity over joints and bone integrates the two separated from each other by kynosal diaphragm, generally called articular cartilage. So my medial and lateral collateral ligaments of the knee joint are extensions of my kynosal case. They seem separate, but they are not. Periosteal tone makes the bone strong. Muscular vigor, better kynosal tuning, denser bone layer, increases density, so it pays to work. And we are being paralyzed by every gadget that comes. I've been practicing. I used to have shoulder arthritis much less when the dial tone was there. Now the push button has come, the shoulder has become stiff. Otherwise, from 0 to grrrr, shoulder is to work. I met with Sardar at 4:30 in morning, Juhu Beach. He was 74, retired naval officer, retired at 54, flat in Pali Hill, leaves home at 3:30, walks up to Warsaw, comes back at 7 o'clock home. 365 days, 20 years. And he said, don't even sneeze. Walk. A gymnasium ka ko bahut zarurat nahi. There is a lot of vanity across a mirror, but I don't think it's necessary. And there are no places left to walk, in fact. I mean, left to run or all. So this is my friend Dr. Natarajan, a part of the team. And the bar in the chair cloth, give it rigidity. I think you referred to educational dross. I like Voltaire. He says, I differ from you, but to the last drop of my blood, I shall defend your right to differ from me. That should be the spirit. And if you were to enroll in Göttingen University, after enrolling, you will go to the market square. There is a girl symbolically pouring out the pitcher. You kiss the feet of the girl and take an oath. Here I have come not to worship what is done, but to question it. You need Nachiketas in the school so that it will follow up Dr. Ravi's work. This is a girl, Göttingen University. I'm done.